The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he firmly believes that Trump will bring the war in Ukraine to an end. But the question, of course, is this: how will Trump bring about an end to this war? Now, his envoy General Keith Kellogg is poised to visit Kiev in the coming weeks, and our next report takes a look as to what could be Donald Trump's strategy, and will it be agreeable to Russia? And more importantly, will Ukraine agree to Trump's plan? Take a look.
Let's first take a look at the battleground. Ukraine is struggling to hold its ground. Russia is mounting relentless aerial assaults. Missiles, drones and bombs are inflicting daily damage. And on the ground, as the Russian forces continue to advance, Russian President Volodymyr Zelensky has once again reposed faith in the incoming US president.
Trump can be decisive. I think that's the most important thing for us, that his qualities, they are there. He can be decisive in this war. He can help us stop Putin.
Donald Trump has promised to end the war in Ukraine swiftly. The man expected to do the job is Keith Kellogg, a retired lieutenant general. Nominated by President-elect Trump as his special envoy to Ukraine and Russia, Kellogg is now headed for Kyiv and other European capitals, while Trump has not revealed how exactly he plans to end the war. A study paper titled America First, Russia and Ukraine reveals Kellogg's thoughts. Kellogg blames the Ukraine escalation on Joe Biden's foreign policy, particularly efforts to integrate Ukraine into NATO. In Kellogg's view, Biden's support for Ukraine gave Russian President Vladimir Putin justification to escalate the war. Kellogg's plan, detailed in his study paper America First, Russia and Ukraine Last, outlines a three-pronged strategy. It suggests allowing Russia to retain captured Ukrainian territories, at least temporarily, halting Ukraine's NATO membership application to ease Russian security concerns. Kellogg also advocates offering limited sanctions relief to incentivize Russia to engage in peace talks. Trump's envoy wants future U.S. military aid to be contingent on Ukraine's participation in peace talks with Russia. However, the plan raises serious concerns about Ukraine's sovereignty and security guarantees. While promising a swift end to hostilities, it effectively rewards Russian aggression with territorial gains. European capitals share Kyiv's fears that without strong military deterrence, Russia will restock its troops and again attack Ukraine in the near future. Now, Russia's neighbor Kazakhstan says Moscow is militarily invincible, while Ukraine is only trying to withstand the armed conflict with the help of the West and at least not lose in it. Ukraine now faces a stark choice between continued resistance with dwindling support or accepting significant concessions for peace. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is happening in the Russia-Ukraine war, we're joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's a military expert and also a host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. He's joining us live from Sterling in Virginia. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us here on WION. And, you know, in our previous conversations, you've said that there's literally no way out for Ukraine in turning the tide of this war. But the question now is, how does Ukraine now look forward to ending this war? Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Donald Trump's unpredictability could bring about an end to this war. In your assessment, how do you think Donald Trump would go about trying to bring about an end to this war?
Well, here's the hard truth. It doesn't matter whether it's Donald Trump or anybody else. Vladimir Putin has all of the key cards in this deal, because Russia doesn't need to negotiate if they don't want to. They can, with military force, with their resources they have, with the manpower they have, they can merely conquer all the territory and take it by force of arms if they want. If they can, it's certainly in Russia's advantage. They have motivation to bring this to an end, but only if their minimum accepted terms are accepted, which is all 4 of the oblasts they annexed in 2022. And that means considerable territory in Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Luhansk that are still under Ukraine control. That would have to be negotiated away by Trump, which would be seen in the West as a surrender, which would be hard for him to do. But here's the key. If Trump doesn't agree to those, then Putin will simply keep fighting until he gains it. That's why this is so hard from the Western side.
You know, interesting. Now, retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is, of course, headed for Kiev. There'll be very interesting to know as to what the conversation between him and Volodymyr Zelensky will be. Now, Donald Trump takes pride in being a deal maker, but can he make a deal which would not have a face saver for the United States of America, which has backed the Ukrainian war effort?
Well, that's exactly the issue. I mean, this is, forgive the analogy here, but it's like a high-stakes poker game where you're going in and you got two sides that have a huge pot in the middle that they want to negotiate for. If one side only has, 6s and 7s and a few 2s, and the other side has like lots of face cards and the higher cards here, the guy with the better cards is going to be able to win. And right now, that is Putin. So Trump can be a great card player. He can be a great negotiator. But if he doesn't have the negotiating tools, then he can't get a, quote, good deal for his side. And that is going to be the big challenge, is how can he reach a negotiated settlement with any kind of a good face on it that ends the war? And that is desperately needed for the Ukrainian people, for the Ukrainian armed forces. If they are forced to continue to fight while Putin takes this additional territory, then tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or more, will die. That's what everyone needs to understand. The war is concluded already with in terms of the end. The only thing that has to be discussed is how bad the toll will be for the Ukraine side. And that's something that the Western people don't want to come to grips with. They can't imagine that we could not win or come out on the good side. But I'm telling you right now, that is the reality on the battlefield.